Elections will come to order. The clerk will call the roll.
Chair Kane.
Present.
Vice Chair Gonzalez. Beckley. Busey.
Here.
Clardy.
Present.
Fierro. Jatan.
Here.
Schofield. Swanson.
Pursuant to Rule 4, Section 16A, a quorum is present for the sole purpose of taking testimony. Morning, members. I'm going to begin with some housekeeping items. Committee will hear 2 Senate bills this morning. Texas House of Representatives will convene at 10 a.m., and it's the chair's intention to be done with all pending business by then and adjourn. As a reminder, if there's anyone who wishes to testify in any of the bills this morning we're hearing, please register on the witness kiosk outside of the hearing room, and also please be sure to make sure that you finish your registration. We'll be limiting testimony to 2 minutes. When the first hear the timer go off, you have 15 seconds left to close on your testimony. Also, if you do not wish to testify in person, you can leave written public testimony comments through our website on any agenda item we are hearing today until the hearing is adjourned. If there are no questions, we will begin with our first bill. The chair lays out Senate Bill 1675 and recognizes Representative Clardy to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. It's my pleasure and privilege to present Senate Bill 1675 by Senator Donna Campbell. I believe Representative Chairman Patty is the House sponsor for this bill, but couldn't be with us this morning, so he's allowed me to lay this bill out. Senate Bill 1675, seeks to safeguard Texas' right to engage in the democratic process and protect elections from various last-minute changes to mail-in ballot laws. This bill does not inherently change any of our current mail-in ballot laws, but instead does 3 basic things. 1, in a declared disaster, the governor may allow mail-in ballots to be dropped off to the early voting clerk's office before the day of the election. Otherwise, and secondly, the governor can change vote by mail laws, but may not change vote by mail laws. That must be left up to the legislature, and no local government can suspend laws governing mail-in ballots. SB 1675 would result in our constituents feeling more confident that elections are conducted in a consistent and equal way. And with that, Mr. Chairman and members, I reserve my right to close if there are no questions.
Yes. Members, any questions? Or no, we're going to move on to testimony. We'll bring you back after. Yes, let the record reflect Representative Schofield now present. Chair calls Michael Wolf. Okay. Please show Michael Wolf being here present, but he's requested that he does not want to testify. Chair calls Robert Green. Robert Green, you heard about of yourself and the Travis County Republican Party Election Integrity Committee, and you're here to testify for this bill. Please proceed, but just for that, please let the record show Vice Chair Gonzalez present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Short and sweet, it was laid out. The terms and conditions of the bill were laid out very well by Mr. Clardy, and it's a good bill. We don't change the rules in the middle of the game. Let's go forward. Thank you. I'd like to see it pass out of this committee and with a recommendation that it do pass.
We like the way you said that. Real quick, members, any questions for this witness? Or none? Thank you, sir. Members, we do have a resource witness here. Any reason? Representative Busey? Okay.
Yes, bring him up.
No, you don't have to. Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against Senate Bill 1675? Hearing none, the chair recognizes Representative Clardy to close. Just before that, please, for the clerk, please let the record reflect Representative Swanson now present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think Mr. Green summed it up quite nicely. You don't change rules in the middle of the game, and I close.
Perfect. Thank you, Representative Clardy. Members, any questions on this bill?
Just a quick question for the
chair. Recognizes Representative Busey.
Thank you, Chairman. Representative Clardy, I know this isn't your bill, so just to say it out loud, my concern here is in the middle of an emergency. Isn't that the role of the governor to step in and have to react quickly when we can't all come in on the turn of what if we're 2 days before the election and it's not just drop off. Maybe something else that we're not thinking of needs to be changed here. So that's, I guess, my concern. I don't know if you have any feedback on that.
That's a fair concern, and I certainly understand it. And this bill, I can assure you, Senator Campbell, this is not any kind of a knock on Governor Abbott or criticism of how he handled the pandemic. But I do think fundamentally this is, I think, an exercise to protect the legislature's role to make laws rather than the executive branch.
Sure.
And so, there are certain times the emergency powers must be taken. We passed HB 3 out of the House yesterday to deal with other issues related to a pandemic or other emergency. But this one, I think it's really fundamental. We shouldn't see the laws change. If you recall, there was a great amount of litigation around the country concerning changes that were made without executive authority, or without legislative authority in other states, where there, in many people's minds, executive power overreach. And it did cause some confusion. And I think that's one of the things this committee should focus on, and the legislature should focus on. If there's one body of law that should be consistent and uniform and not changing unless it's been deliberated over and changed with good reason and considered by all the branches of the government, whether it be the legislative, executive, or judiciary, it's the election laws. But the pandemic did thrust upon us difficult decisions. I know that Governor Abbott and his staff struggled with that throughout the pandemic and tried to make good decisions for the best of the citizens of Texas. But I think that has forced the legislature to come back and look at how do we set those boundaries? How do we establish what should or should not be done, and give better guidance? So, it was a hard ship to steer over the last year and a half after we got out of the session and through the COVID pandemic. I think Governor Abbott and his staff and the people around him should be commended for the job that they did. But now it's our turn to say these are the rules. This is what you can and cannot do when it comes to changing the law of elections.
I hear you. I just am concerned that you called it government overreach. I'm worried about emergency powers underreach, and that we could really limit our ability to react in the moment. But I understand what you're saying. I just think we're not always in an ideal situation.
That's right,
But that's all I have.
I get you, Representative Busey, but if it was easy, anybody could do it.
Thank you both. I've just learned about the word underreach. Thank you, Representative Busey. If there is no objection, Senate Bill 1675 will be left pending. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and the bill is left pending. I'm going to keep Representative Clardy in the hot seat. The chair now lays out Senate Bill 1901 and recognizes Representative Clardy to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Currently, this is Senate Bill 1901 by Senator Zaffarani, and relating to the authority of the Secretary of State to order the performance of certain election functions. And it was passed, coincidentally, out of the Senate Committee on State Affairs unanimously. Currently, the Secretary of State may order persons performing official functions in any part of the electoral process to correct conduct that impedes voting rights. If they fail to comply, the Secretary of State may seek enforcement through the Attorney General. The Attorney General, however, does not interpret this provision to authorize seeking an order or a writ to compel a political subdivision to hold an election. Accordingly, there is no enforcement mechanism to prevent local elected officials from attempting to remain in office by canceling an election. Senate Bill 1901 would allow the Attorney General, at the Secretary of State's request, to seek a judicial order of writ compelling a political subdivision to conduct an election on the date mandated by law. This bill is narrowly tailored to expand the Attorney General's right to seek judicial intervention to instances in which local officials cancel or delay an election they are legally required to hold. This change would ensure the state can protect Texans' rights to elect local leaders. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I would reserve the right to close and be happy to answer any questions.
It's a great bill. Members, any questions for this? For the author? For Representative Clark? All right, we're going to move on to witnesses. Chair calls Robert Green. All righty. Please show. Robert Green was here to testify for, but he's passed. Members, we do have a resource witness here. We're all good. Okay. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify?
Mr. Chairman, I would personally like to hear from the Secretary of State's office.
Chair calls Keith Ingram.
I mean, they got dressed up and came all this way.
We understand. Good morning, Mr. Ingram.
Good morning, committee. My name is Keith Ingram. I'm the director of the Elections Division of the Texas Secretary of State's office here on Senate Bill 1901.
The chair recognizes Representative Clardy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Ingram, you heard the layout of the bill. I'm sure you're familiar with it and testified in the Senate. Mechanically, does this charge pose any problems or concerns of the Secretary of State's office to comply with the provisions of Senate Bill 1901?
None whatsoever. No, sir.
And has there been, I'm assuming there have been conversations with the Attorney General's office about how this would be implemented. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We haven't talked to them about this bill, but we did have a conversation with them about the city of Floresville when they wanted to move their election. And this bill would make it much more clear that the state could intervene in that situation.
Okay. And I know anecdotally, we've had, I think, a couple of occasions within my district where there are political subdivisions because only one person signs up for the race. There's no opponent. This will not limit or impede an election being canceled in those appropriate circumstances when there's just no need to have an election.
That's right. This doesn't affect that at all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ingram.
Members, any other questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank y'all.
Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against Senate Bill 1901? If not, Representative Clardy, if you'd like to close.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members, and I close.
Thank you, Representative Clardy. If there is no objection, the bill will be left pending. Is there objection? Chair hears none, and the bill is left pending. Members, we're just going to check on a few things, see if there's any ability to vote these out. We also do have, I believe, 3301. Which one by?
331.
331 by Senator Nathan Johnson. It's an interpreter bill that we're looking at voting out as well. Members, we're getting things ready. Okay. Members, there was Senate Bill 331 was one relating to interpreters we'd heard recently. You all feel like you know enough? Okay. Chair lays out as pending business. Okay. Members, back up. We're going to wait for one more person. Representative Jatan is apparently coming on this way. Also, in between then, if you'd like to determine how you would like to vote on Senate Bill 1675, that was the one we just heard by Senator Campbell, which Representative Clardy so artfully presented to this body. The other one would be Senate Bill 1901 by Senator Zaffarini. Representative John, we're going to be voting on three bills. Senate Bill 331 by Senator Johnson. It's companion to House Bill 3285. It's the interpreter bill. One we just heard, Senate Bill 1675. It's a great bill by Senator Campbell that Representative Clardy laid out, and Senate Bill 1901 by Senator Zaffarani. They just laid out as well. Good bills. All right, members. Chair lays out as pending business Senate Bill 331 by Senator Johnson. It's companion to House Bill 3285 by Representative Button. Remember, Senate Bill 331 is the bill we heard a couple of weeks ago relating to the eligibility to serve as an interpreter in an election. Chair moves that Senate Bill 331 as substituted be reported favorably to the full House with a recommendation that it do pass and be printed. The clerk will call the roll.
Chair Kane.
Aye.
Vice Chair Gonzalez.
Aye.
Beckley. Busey.
Aye.
Clardy.
Aye.
Fierro. Jeton.
Aye.
Schofield.
No.
Swanson.
No.
There being 5 ayes and 2 nays, the motion prevails. Members, we're going to move on to Senate Bill 1675 by Campbell. Chair lays out as pending business Senate Bill 1675 by Senator Campbell. Remember, Senate Bill 1675 is the bill we heard earlier relating to procedures for early voting by mail. Chair moves that Senate Bill 1675 be reported favorably to the full House with a recommendation that it do pass and be printed. The clerk will call the roll.
Chair Kane.
Aye.
Vice Chair Gonzalez. Beckley. Busey.
No.
Clardy.
Aye.
Fierro. Jeton.
Aye.
Schofield.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
There being 5 ayes and 2 nays, the motion prevails. Now moving on, 1901, members. The chair lays out as pending business Senate Bill 1901 by Senator Zaffarani. Remember, Senate Bill 1901 is the bill we heard earlier by Representative Clardy relating to the authority of the Secretary of State to order the performance of certain election functions. The chair moves that Senate Bill 1901 be reported favorably to the full House with a recommendation that it do pass and be printed. The clerk will call the roll.
Chair Kane.
Aye.
Vice Chair Gonzalez. Beckley. Busey.
Aye.
Clardy.
Aye.
Fierro. Jeton.
Aye.
Schofield.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
There being 6 ayes, 1 nay, the motion prevails. Well, that's it for today, members. That concludes our agenda. Is there any further business for the committee to address? If not, the chair moves to adjourn. Is there objection? Hearing none, the House Committee on Elections stands adjourned, subject to the call of the chair.